Hello and welcome back. So currently this is what our application looks like and we are working to make it look like this. So in this video we are going to finish up styling this home component. So in Visual Studio Code, I'll just open up the home component and the styles for it. Very good. Not the styles but the home.scss file. That's here. Now before I move on, there's something we haven't done. This materialized CSS package we installed, we haven't really brought it into our project, so let's do that now. And to do that, over in index.js, right below the import for the material design icons, I'll just bring it in there. And to do that, we import from the node modules folder. The package name is materialize CSS. We want to go into the dist folder, into the CSS folder, and bring in materialize.main.css. And then we also want to bring in the JavaScript too. So this will be JS and this will be .main.js. So let me just show you where I'm getting this path from. If I go over to my desktop where the application is, this node modules folder is where every package we install gets put in our application. So in node modules, let's find materialize. This is it. This is the dist folder we went into, and this is the CSS folder, and this is the CSS file we imported, while this is the JavaScript file we just imported in our editor. So now we have that out of the way, let's continue styling our components. Now currently our buttons have the right color but not the right width and positioning, so let's fix that. So for the login and sign up buttons, login and sign up, okay, this here, okay, there's a typo on the width. This is supposed to be 45% and not just 45. Hope it fixes something. Very good. So for the play button, I want it to have to span the width of this container. It's supposed to be as wide as these two buttons together, just the way this one is. So to do that, back in home.scss, this is the selector for that play button. I want to give it a display property of block because by default anchor elements have a display property of inline, which just makes them take up as much space as necessary, but I want it to take the entire width available to it. So I'll just give it a display property of block. So go display block, and then we also want to give it a padding. Okay, we have that padding already. Let's see. Okay, we have the width, right? So let's give it a border radius. So the border radius is going to be up here, border dash radius, and the value for the border radius will be the variable we created, which is button radius. Button radius does not exist. Let's check our settings component and hope we have that variable. Okay, we haven't created this button radius variable, so I'll just do it now. The variable will be button dash radius and the value will be 30 pixels, and I'll just title it button radius. So I'm using this variable over in my home.scss styles, and let's see if we have the same radius for the other buttons. Okay, so I'll just change this one to button radius, and let's say okay, we have the radius. Now I want to align this text, the play text, to the center like so. So that's easy. In the play button selector, just go text align center, and then I want to bring or give these buttons some space at the top. So to do that, on the alt buttons container, we'll give it a margin dash top of, let's see what large will look like. Okay, looking good. Now, whenever I hover over this play button, notice how the color just goes from the current green shade it is to a slightly darker version. That's a hover transition, so I want to do that, and also for the login and sign up buttons. So let's do the one for the play button first. So on the play button, first of all, I want to add a transition property, and it's going to be 0.3 seconds linear all, and then I'll just say A on the play button. Whenever we hover over it, I want it to have a background, not background color. Why am I still pressing background? Background color of, the current color is green, so I want to darken this green by 10%. So we can use the darken function that SCSS gives us, and the color I want to darken is green in the brackets. By how much? 10%. So let's hope that works. So C, hover, and it darkens. So we'll just do it for these other two buttons, and this sign up button is supposed to be blue. I don't know why I styled that green. Sign up button should be blue, and the variable does not exist, so let's create that blue variable. So the blue variable under colors, the blue variable will have a, let me just get the code in a moment, the color code for that blue variable. So the color code for the blue variable will be blue, and the code is #1DA F12, #1DA F12, #1DA F12, #1DA 1F2, not F12, 1F2. Okay, so that's the blue, and we have that. So I just want to do what I just did on this play button for the login and sign up buttons. So let's do it. So they both need transitions. I can just copy this property here and apply it or set it down here, because these styles here apply to both the login and the sign up buttons. These styles here, I want to apply the transition here because it applies to both the login and sign up buttons. They have both the login and sign up buttons have this alt buttons class over here. So now that I have my transition set, let's just set the hover. So I'll duplicate this one, set this to hover, and I want to darken red by 10%. That's that. And then for the sign up also, we'll do the same thing but with a different color. So this will be hover, background color, darken blue by same 10%. So let's see what we have. Looking good. I think we're almost there. One last thing we need to do will be to set the font family of our text. So when it comes to font, we'll be using Google's fonts. So if we go over to fonts.google.com, now the font I used is called Quicksand, or the font we'll be using is called Quicksand. So this is the font. So just click the name and select the fonts, select this font, and come over here and click this one family selected. So I could easily copy this link tag and paste it in my HTML, but I'll just come to this import tab here and I'll copy this import URL here without the style tags. Now over in styles.scss, I just want to import the fonts before any other thing. That's that. Now to actually use the font, this is how we go. We set the font family to Quicksand or a fallback of sans serif. So I'll just copy this and I'll put it in a variable. So over in settings, this will be, I'll just do it at the top up here. This will be fonts, and I'll name this variable Quicksand, and the value is going to be without the font family selector or property. The value is going to be this. Now in base.scss, on the body, I'll just set my font family to the Quicksand variable. Quicksand. Save that and let's see if it applies. Very good. So our font is looking how we expect, but it's not as large as I want. So over in my home components, on the H1 selector, I'll just increase the font weight to like 300. Let's see how that one looks. Okay, it's too tiny. Just make it bold. It's too large. Let's see, 700. Smaller, 4. Okay, this is looking better than the previous one. So guys, so this is the end of this video. We've been able to style our homepage to look like the original one. So this is what the original application looks like, even though I've kind of changed the name because this name is taken by some other guys, so this won't work. So this is our own current quiz app name, looking very, very pretty. So in the next video, we'll be working on the instructions page, which is what happens when you click here. We're working on this page. There isn't much work to be done here, so we'll just work on this page in the next video and then we'll continue. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you loved it, leave a comment and like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for staying with me.